Hello, hello. Welcome back to a new episode of the Leading Yourself podcast. Let me ask you something. Have you been feeling stuck lately? Have you been feeling that things are kind of comfortable and stable, but you feel maybe unfulfilled or unhappy? I promise you're not alone. It's time to take control of this game we call life and level up right now. In today's podcast episode, I'm going to be sharing with you 8 strategies to help you level up your game. So let's dig into today's podcast episode. Welcome to the Leading Yourself podcast. This is your host, Carolina de Arriba. I'm an HR professional, health and fitness coach, wife, mom, and above all things, a goal-getter. In this podcast, we're going to be digging into all things leadership, professional and career development, habits, and relationships. This is a podcast for those who want to become the best version of themselves. Those who have big dreams and are willing to embrace the journey and put in the work to achieve them. My goal is to share with you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you in your journey. So let's dig into today's episode. We all find ourselves at one time in our life or many times in our lives where we feel stuck. We'll feel that things are stable, things are comfortable, but we don't feel fulfilled and we can't really put our finger on what's going on. Or maybe, there's something in you that doesn't feel right, that feels like you're meant for more. Yes, I love that. You feel that you're meant for more, but you don't know what more is, and you feel kind of stuck in where you are around your circumstances. And I personally believe that when we are in a journey for success, um, personal growth always comes first. You can't get to that finish line if you don't grow and there's no personal growth involved. And what I want to do today is talk about leveling up. I think it's time, if you feel like any of what I describe, it's time to take control of your life and level up right now. And I'm going to show you 8 ways that you can level up. These are not things that are overnight, but are things that are really going to help you get unstuck and start to increase your levels of fulfillment. And let me start by defining what I mean by leveling up. For me, leveling up means like having an incremental growth. It means like making a quantum leap by leaning in, by tapping into your potential. And as I said today, I want to share with you 8 different strategies that can help you get to that leveling up in your life. So let's go through them right away. The first one is to lean in and to say hell yes to things, right? When opportunities, responsibilities, and questions come around you, you don't just respond to them, but respond with a hell yes. I'm sure that right now there's opportunities around you that you're not even paying attention to. How many times you say yes to things just because you feel obligated to say yes, just because it was others expect you to do? But what I'm talking about here is that you look around, right? And you say yes to those things that at your core, you're feeling this hell yes, I want to do that. You should be passionate about life and the opportunities that come your way and really focus on those things that fill you up. Also, I mentioned I'm going through a lot of changes in my life right now, and I have say hell yes to many opportunities lately. And as I was in the process of deciding what my answer was going to be to these opportunities, I was scrolling through Pinterest. And I don't know about you, but social media scares me. When you're thinking about something and all of a sudden your social media starts giving you things and showing you things that are aligned with what you are thinking, really scary. But there was this quote that just pop up right in Pinterest as I was scrolling that says, always go with the choices that scare you the most because that is the one that is going to help you grow. And when I mean say hell yes, I mean say something that feels exciting, something that feels risky, something that feels bigger than you, something that excites you and gives you that sense of butterflies on your tummy. And sometimes those butterflies might be fear. Sometimes they might be excitement. And here's the thing, they both feel very similarly physically. They feel very similarly. So sometimes we say no to things because we think we are afraid, but really what we are is excited. And it's important to recognize exactly what we're feeling and take the risk. If something scares you, or if you have multiple choices and there's one that scares you the most, go with that one and say a hell yes to that. And that can really help you level up for many reasons, right? First of all, because if it's outside of your comfort zone, it's going to stretch you. It's going to force you to grow. I I'm going to talk about how it feels when you level up once I go over this 8 ways to level up. But there is a quote from Leonardo DiCaprio that says, "Every next level in your life demands a different you." And when you say hell yes to things that scare you, you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. And that requires a different version of you that is going to be able to take on that challenge and succeed in that challenge. And that is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about leveling up. That second strategy to level up is gratitude. Yes, I'm going to talk about gratitude again. I feel like I talk about gratitude all the time, but gratitude is the magic. It's actually, there is a book called The Magic that it's all about gratitude. Totally recommend the book, by the way. It's a 28-day challenge on gratitude. But commercial aside, gratitude is a huge element of leveling up in your life. When you are grateful for what you already have and you have joy within yourself or your current life, then you can begin to attract more positive, more good things towards you. It's the law of attraction. I talked about this on I think it was the very first episode that I did this year. So I always recommend people to include a gratitude practice in their lives. You know, having even a journal where you write down everything that you're grateful for right now and every day. Through gratitude, you will find appreciation for everything around you and you will see things so much clearly, and it will help you level up in your life, raise your vibration to a totally new level, right? And it's going to refresh your mind and it's going to change your perception. It's going to make you a more optimistic person, someone that sees the blessings around him or her, and that is going to attract more blessings to your life. So, gratitude is a great way to level up in your life. The next one is to let go of limiting beliefs. Last week, I did 2 whole episodes on this topic of limiting beliefs, but I'm just going to mention 2 things on limiting beliefs because one, really encourage you to listen to both of the episodes from last week, the one on Monday and the one on Wednesday. So I did an episode on say goodbye to your limiting beliefs. And then in Unleash Her Power Within, we talked about limiting beliefs. So I touch on limiting beliefs again. And I share strategies on how to let go of your limiting beliefs. But limiting beliefs might be the thing that is holding you back. It might be the thing that is keeping you stuck and unfulfilled. And if you're able to replace those limiting beliefs with new empowering beliefs, automatically you're going to see how you're leveling up You're making a quantum growth once you're able to flip those limiting beliefs. So, really recommend you to listen to the previous two podcast episodes. The next strategy to level up is visualization. And I've talked about visualization a lot in this podcast. But visualization, in my opinion, is a very effective process in leveling up your life. Why? Because when you visualize, one, you can improve your level of focus towards your goals. It's going to give you clarity and direction in your life. It's going to motivate you. It's going to inspire you to keep working towards that thing that you're visualizing. It's going to boost your morale and your passion towards your dreams. It's going to help you to make better decisions with your best interest in mind. Therefore, I think when you visualize on a regular basis, right, about your goals, about your dreams, about the life that you want, you're going to start to level up immediately, right? The kind of motivation and inspiration um that comes through visualization, it doesn't come through any other tool that at least I've tried. And here's what I recommend. Like, I actually do this now as part of my morning routine. Is something that I have included in my morning routine. Gratitude has always been from the very beginning, but visualization wasn't. And I did one time this one meditation, visualization meditation from Gabrielle Bernstein, a New York bestseller. And she is a spiritual guide, spiritual coach. I don't know what is the right term, but she talks a lot about the law of attraction, which is something that I've been, as I mentioned on the first episode this year, like immersing myself and learning more about. So I came across her books and I came across one of her meditations on visualization. And basically, she walks you through visualizing your dream life. And I've done visualizations before. A way of visualizing your future is through a vision board, which I've talked about before also in the podcast. But even if it's just closing your eyes and visualizing your life 5, 10 years from now, the life that you want to have, and visualize it like you're watching a movie and you are the main character of that movie, like feeling all the feelings when you're seeing that movie in your mind is so powerful. And if you do that in the mornings, here's what it does. What it does is, as you go through the day and you're faced with decisions, that vision is going to be so crisp, so clear in your mind that is going to guide your decisions, is going to guide how you show up in situations. And you're going to notice that automatically you're just leveling up in the way that you're showing up, in the way that you are fighting and working towards that dream that you have, in the way that you are passionate, in the way that you're motivated towards achieving that thing. So, visualization is a really, really powerful tool that if you use consistently, it can really help you level up in life. The fifth strategy is habits and consistency. You know, when I think about leveling up, I can't stop but think about my son. I have an almost 13-year-old son who loves video games. I mean, what teenager doesn't love video games these days? But he does. And in video games, I am not going to pretend that I know anything about video games because I don't. But I remember when I was his age and I was playing Mario Bros. In my Nintendo, um, you would level up, right? Every time you finish a world or a level, that you will level up. And when you play a game and you might fail each level multiple times. I was that person, right? I was the person that will move the arms up and down with the control. And that's why probably I was the one who inspired like these new video games where, you move the controller with your hand, because I was doing that with that old Nintendo thing. But when you play a game, right, you might fail at each level multiple times before you're able to actually level up to the next level. But that doesn't stop you from trying to succeed, right? You keep trying at that level because you're motivated to go to the next level in the video game. This is kind of the same thing that applies to your life. If you are consistent in your activities and in the steps that you need to take to level up, which are your habits, then ultimately you are going to level up. It might take several tries. You might fail several times. You might get to game over and then start over again. And that's okay. That's what life is about. It's difficult, especially when you're faced with failure. However, knowing that every time that you fail, every time that you're playing the game and you lose, knowing that that's just a small setback, that you can try again and again and again. And every time that you try, you make little progress towards that goal. Ultimately, if you stay consistent with the activities and the steps that you need to take in order to level up, you will level up. So, habits and consistency is really, really important. The other thing, number 7, is learn something new, right? It's the stories that you tell to yourself, your past failures that you have experienced, the fear of failing and the lack of confidence that you might have in yourself right now to step up, all of that can be lessened by you learning on an ongoing basis. If there is a skill that you wish you had or that you need to improve, learn it, right? If there's a skill that is preventing you from leveling up, learn that skill. If there is a job that you want and you don't know how to get it, learn about it. I think there is always opportunities for us to learn and to expand our knowledge. And if we get into the habit of making learning part of our life, the more you learn, the more you're preparing yourself for the next level, the more you're equipping yourself to be successful in leveling up. And sometimes it's about learning something new. Sometimes it's about if you're feeling stuck, right? And what you need is change something in your life, learn about something new. Maybe you don't know exactly what that next level looks like for you. Maybe you're stuck because you don't have clarity on what is really what you want. Learning new things can help you discover new passions, can help you discover what that next level might look like for you. Because as you learn new things, you might fall in love with some of the things that you're learning. And that can give you hints of how that next level looks like. So, learning, always learning, right? Another way is reading, right? For me, reading is a way of learning, but whether it's fiction or nonfiction books, whatever it is that you're learning, I think when you read, what reading does is that allows you to use your imagination. It helps you relax your mind from the hustling, right? It helps you um, educate you and inspire you and motivate you and stimulate you. Any kind of book that you read is going to enrich your life and is going to enrich your mind. And I think also reading a lot of times can help us to get away from external influences such as social media. Um, because for me, for example, like at night before going to bed, I'm so tired that I don't want to think about what I want to do. And I am I'm not so much into watching TV. So a lot of times I will sit with my phone and just scroll in social media. And that is the worst way to end your day, because when you're scrolling through social media, automatically you're comparing yourself with others, or you're getting into gossip or seeing things that don't add anything to your life. Instead of that, I've been picking up a book and reading, and that is such a better way of ending my day in a positive note. And I'm very careful about what I pick to read at night. So I try to read things that inspire me, things that stimulate my creativity. And I think that is so key, because when you do that before going to bed, it has an impact on the quality of your sleep, but also it has an impact on the mood on which you wake up the next morning. And that can really impact your ability to level up. Okay, so that was number 6. Number 7 is your environment. Um, the people that you surround yourself with. I always say that you are the combination of the 5 people you spend most time with. It's a quote that I heard sometime somewhere, and is something that I really agree with. And I think if you want to level up your life, you need to build the environment around you that is going to support that new level in your life. I talked about this in previous podcast episodes when I talk about habits, and I said, if if you have a goal to run a marathon, right? And you surround yourself with people that are not athletic at all, that the only thing that they're looking forward is for happy hour and pizza, it's going to be really hard. You're going to make it really hard on yourself to get to a point where you develop the habit of training and running, right? But if you surround yourself with people that have similar interest and similar goals as you, it's going to be so much easier to get to the finish line, right? If you want to run a marathon, surround yourself with people that are marathon runners or are runners, that will text you at 6 in the morning and say, "Hey, friend, let's go for a run," versus the friend that will text you, "Hey, friend, what bar are we going tonight?" Right? Very, very different. The people that we surround ourselves with have a huge effect on our mindset, on our choices, and our motivation. So, by surrounding yourself with people that have different interests than you, or people even with that are negative, right? And with limited mindsets, is going to increase your chances of becoming just that. But if you surround yourself with people that are positive, people that are have a growth mindset, people that have similar interest of what you have on that next level, that is going to create the perfect environment for you to succeed in leveling up. And that leaves me with the 8th strategy for leveling up. And this one, it's one that I think is the missing link a lot of times, because all the things that I mentioned so far are probably things that you have heard me say in a different context. All of the things that I mentioned so far are things that not only are going to help you to level up, but I've talked in the context of helping you with other things in your life, right? Like gratitude, I talk about that all the time. The people you surround yourself with, I talk about that all the time. Visualization, I've talked about that before. But there is one thing that I think is the missing piece in leveling up, and that is proximity. Proximity. Proximity for me means close relationships. I should have Googled what proximity means, but I did not. Uh, it means close, right? And in this case, for me, is close relationships. We talk about the environment, and a big piece of the environment being the people that you surround yourself with. And you have heard me say, even today, but in previous episodes, that you are a combination of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. We talked about, even last week, the 10 people that you need in your life, right? And we talk about like mentors. And you heard me say that I, at a given point in time, have multiple mentors, many of which I don't even know personally, but they mentor me on the distance, right? Through their podcasts, other books. And a lot of you have reached out to me and say, "Oh my God, I never thought about that. That is brilliant." And for me, it was a matter of, these are the areas that I'm focusing on. And who are the people that are the experts in these areas? Who are the people that have the experience in those areas from whom I can learn? And sometimes the names that came up were not people that I knew personally, but people that could do that on the distance. Now, proximity for me, again, means close relationships. People that know me and I know them, that they're part of my life, whether it's in a big or in small way. And they're people that I can reach to and that I can get an answer from. That's what I mean by proximity. And for me, this is the big difference between this quote unquote virtual mentors. And I say quote unquote because today, with the pandemic, a lot of people that will fulfill this definition of proximity, I'm still meeting virtually with them. But what I mean virtual mentors, I mean these people that I don't know personally, but just people that I read their books or listen to their podcasts or so on. So that is for me the biggest difference, right? There are people that, you know, people that are operating at a higher level than me, ideally. And that applies for both the virtual mentors and the proximity ones, right? But I look up for people, again, that know me personally, that I know personally, people that I can reach to asking them something and they're going to get back to me, that are better than me in the area that I want to develop, that they have succeeded in what I'm trying to succeed, but they're in a different level that I am. Their mindset, their habits are at a totally different level. And when you have proximity to people that are 1 or 2 steps ahead of you, or sometimes for me, even they're 1,000 steps ahead of me, right? You get the, they become like role models, right? In a way. And they become like a role model on how you can operate. They are already at a higher level, so they can help you get to that higher level. In other words, to level up, which is what we're talking about today. So, proximity is really, really powerful. I have people like this that I admire because of their great leaders, right? And I want to level up on my leadership. Maybe they're great communicators and I'm trying to level up my communication skills, or on how they react or manage situations that I've been disappointed with myself on how I manage similar situations. But here's the thing, a lot of times we lack that proximity because of different reasons. One of the reasons that I have not get to that proximity, that I've been afraid of the proximity, is because I felt unworthy. I felt like these people are in a different league. I'm not worthy of getting around with them. I'm not worthy of sitting in the same table and having discussions with these people because I'm so beneath them, right? And I felt unworthy. I felt like there was nothing I can add value to these people. Like I felt selfish. I felt I was only gonna go to them because I needed their help, but there was nothing I can give them in return. There was nothing I can add to that relationship. And when I think about mentors, I think about win win relationships. I always think that while I am the most benefited from the relationship, right? Because I'm going to them as a mentor, it needs to be a win win. And I felt it would be a win lose because I had nothing to contribute to. So I really felt intimidated to reach to these people for that reason. Sometimes I was like, okay, for me to be ready to get into that league, there's so much work that I need to do. And I don't know that I'm willing to do that work right now because there's a million things going on my life. And I don't know that I can commit, right? Because if I go to a mentorship relationship with someone, I do it because I'm 100% committed that I will take all the actions that I need to take, that I learn from that relationship on a consistent way that will help me level up, right? So, those are some things that have stopped me from reaching out and creating that proximity with people. Because I think right now, if you think about it, I am sure that in your mind, when I say proximity and I say reach out to mentors that where you have that, when you have that proximity, there are probably at least one name that popped on your mind. But probably you're like, "Oh, no, I can't reach out to that person." Well, let me tell you something. You need to let go of all those fears. All those limiting beliefs, again, are popping up. Is your limiting beliefs that are holding you back from reaching out to that person. I have never reached out to someone to ask them to be my mentor and them saying no. Never. Never, ever. And maybe I'm just lucky, but I think because I've been on the other side and I've been so fortunate to be the mentor also for others. That when someone reaches out to you asking you to be their mentor, I take that as a compliment. I take it as a compliment because they believe that my experiences and my knowledge can help them. I take that as a compliment and it's so fulfilling. And every time that I've mentored someone, I've learned out of that relationship something that has helped me also level up. Even though I never went into that relationship looking at the other person as my mentor, I always have learned from my mentees. So it's always a win win. You thinking that it won't is just in your head. So don't be afraid and reach out to that person and create that proximity. The other thing that a lot of times can stop us from creating that proximity, because one way of creating that proximity, sometimes the person that you want to create proximity with, or the type of people that you want to create proximity with, maybe it's not someone that you yet know personally, but you want to get to know personally so you can create that proximity. And a lot of times that takes an investment. It takes an investment of time, always, and sometimes even a financial investment, like you joining a mastermind or you joining a training class. Like I've been sharing with you all my journey on Unleash Her Power Within. And that is an investment I'm making on myself for myself, but also is an investment that I'm making in order to get proximity with people that can help me level up. So there is never a perfect time to invest. And what I find out when all these people that I admire, that I follow, that are successful, that are role models, one thing that they have in common, all these people that have grown so fast, is that they all have been willing to invest time, and always also, I was going to say sometimes, but I think all the times also invest financially on themselves. There is no best investment you can make than the investment that you make on yourself. And if you're ready to level up, to have this quantum leap, right? You're going to have to invest in yourself. The same way you can grow um, anything, right? I was trying to think of a good example, but let's say that you want to grow your savings. The only way you're going to grow your savings without, putting more money into your saving account that comes from work or other things, but the money that it's already there in your account, the way you grow that money is by investing that money, right? The same way, the only way you're going to grow yourself is by investing in yourself. So think about what are ways that you can invest in yourself. And at the beginning, for me, that investment was always and only a time investment. I was not making financial investments on myself. It was all about time. That's how it all started. And then it got to a point where I was confident about investing also financially on myself. So, those are the 8 strategies to level up. Now, before I close today, I want to talk about what is going to happen when you actually level up. Because a lot of times we believe that leveling up is all roses, right? It's all so positive and so fulfilling and all the things. But the reality is a little bit different. So let's talk about what happens when you level up. When you level up, I mentioned this quote from Leonardo DiCaprio before, that every next level of life will demand a different you. And I believe that when you decide to level up, to go bigger, life is not automatically going to look better or you're going to feel more successful, but in the short term is actually going to feel more difficult. It's going to feel more challenging. Your confidence is going to temporarily drop. Why? Because you're now stepping outside of your comfort zone. So it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be learning new things. You're going to be experiencing new things that you haven't done before. And a lot of times we expect that when we level up, all of a sudden we're going to be masters at that next level. But it's like the example that I gave before, right? When you level up on a video game, if you're like me, it's going to take you multiple tries before you pass that level. And you're going to make mistakes and you're going to be frustrated and you're going to lose your confidence on your ability to pass that next level. But that is just temporary. Anytime that you step outside of your comfort zone, there is a learning curve. There's something to be learned, there's something to be experienced, and you can't expect to be perfect at the first time. The other thing is sometimes it might feel like everything is falling apart around you, right? It's going to feel like, oh my God, this is so chaotic and everything is falling apart. And that is going to create this fear inside of you and this impulse to go back to what it was, to step a step back. And it as I said is completely normal that things feel that way at the beginning because it's a new territory that you need to explore before you feel confident, before you make a sense of it. That next level in that video game looks very different than the previous level. And you can think, "Oh, there's something wrong in this level," right? But it's just different. And it might look chaotic, and that is completely normal. And you need to stay put and stay strong until you discover that territory. You might also start to question yourself or question your goals, question Is this really worth it? Um, is it's really worth it for me to pursue this because you've lost your confidence, because things feel chaotic. You might lack clarity at the moment. It might be foggy around you. You might feel disoriented. And our reaction is to start to question, is this really what I want? Or you might feel alone because you are changing, and this happens a lot of times. Again, you need to be a different version of you in this new level if you want to pass the next level. So it's going to require you to change, and all of a sudden the people that you were surrounded with, right, in the past, they're going to see you changing, and it might become uncomfortable for them to see you changing. And you might feel that your relationships are being negatively impacted by you leveling up. And it's just that they're adjusting, right? See it as that they're adjusting. They're seeing you showing up differently. And they might be also afraid or questioning what's going on. So I think it's important, especially with the people that are important in your life, that you let them know that you're in this journey, that you're trying to level up, that you're trying to make this quantum leap, that you're trying to grow, and to share your dreams and your goals with them. And they're going to be there to support you. But a lot of times we go in this journey and we forget about these people. Not that we forget about them, but we don't share with them that we're in this journey. So they're seeing you acting differently, and they might start to get worried, and that can feel like it's damaging your relationships, but it's just that everything is getting adjusted. So those are some of the things that you can experience when you're leveling up. Of course, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to be faced with crucial decisions along the way that might feel uncomfortable to make. All those are natural parts of leveling up because, as I said, this quote that I really love from Leonardo DiCaprio, every next level of life will demand a different you. And that is going to require you to step outside of your comfort zone. And as a default, is going to feel uncomfortable. But the more you step outside of that comfort zone, the more you're going to grow, the more you're going to become a different, better version of yourself that is able to deal with that next level, and it's able to succeed at that next level. So that's what I have for you today. I hope this episode was inspiring. I hope that you got an idea or two that you want to implement in your life if you're trying to level up. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling unfulfilled, it might be time to level up. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, do me a favor, share it with a friend. Help me spread the word of the Leading Yourself podcast. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you here again for another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast.